you can store actual files into the Visual Archive database, and to do that, what you want to do is find the files that you wish to file, and you can do that through Windows Explorer. Navigate to the folder that contains the files, and I'm going to choose a few of these files here that I've got in here, and then I'm going to go to the archive stage folder, which is C:/archive stage, and I'm going to paste those files into there. You can either paste them, and by doing so you're going to keep a copy of the file in the original folder, or you can move the files if you don't need a copy on your file system, because after Visual Archive files it into the database, it then deletes the file, so it will only exist in the database after that point. So copy it if you want to keep the original file, and move it if you don't need to keep the original file. So we go back to Visual Archive, and what I'm going to do here is right click this box on the left that says Files in Archive Stage, and I'm going to do a refresh, and then we see those files just appeared in this box. Now what I can do then is, let's say I want to take a look at this one, I can double click it, and then it opens up, and I see we have some type of order form here, some type of shop order form. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to close this. I'm going to keep that selected here on the left, and document type is going to be shop order, and I can leave the rest of the information blank here. Document date, it'll use today's date if I don't put anything in there. I don't need to put any notes in there. Now the order number, I don't have to put this in, but since we have an order number, 102899, I'm going to put that in and hit tab, and we see that we have this other information that just filled in automatically. That's because Visual Archive looked at that order number we typed in, and then it found it and filled in the rest of the information for us. And we're not limited to this information that we see in the list here. You can right click the list and select Index List, and you can actually choose different index values that you want to see on the list. And as you can see, I just selected a few more, and the information's filled in already for us. So just because the item is not visible on the list, if there is an index value for it that Visual Archive found, it'll still index by that. So you don't necessarily have to have it showing on the list for it to be indexed by that value. And what I can do is press File, and as you can see, it disappeared off this list, and it shows up in the window down here where it says Files Manually Archived This Session. It shows up on the list. So that file is now gone, and we can go on to the next one. And if you notice, under index values, those are still in there from the previous one, and that's because if you have a bunch of documents that are all going to be filed with that order ID, this way you don't have to keep entering the order ID every time. You could just keep hitting File, for all the documents relating to that order number. But in this case, that's the only one we had. So I'm going to right click the list, and I'm going to say Clear Index, and now we see that the value is all cleared out, and I can go on to the next document. Next, I'm going to try to file this document right here, this INV 63340. I'm going to open it, and we see that it's an invoice. So I'm going to change this document type to invoice, and the document date is, let's see, June 14th, 2007. So 6/14. Now another neat feature, if you have two screens here, you can actually be viewing the document in one screen and typing in the information in the other screen rather than scrolling back and forth, but this is fine too with using a single screen. Now I don't have an order ID for this one, and I'm just going to say it's for A&F Custom Manufacturing, so I can just start typing A, and the A's pop up, and I'm going to click this list here, and I'm just going to choose, did I choose the wrong, A&F Custom manufacturing, and the invoice number 101597. And I'm just going to put those two numbers on there. I'm going to close this document now. If you have to have it closed in order to file it, otherwise it can't store the file away in the Visual Archive database. So I'm going to press File, and we see here that the file has that it is now filed into the database, and it disappears off of our list. And finally, just to show you that you can add any type of file, I'm going to right-click this, and I'm going to say Clear Index. Now I'm going to double-click this file right here. It's called filingcalculations.xls, so it's an Excel spreadsheet file. I'm going to double-click that, and it opens up. Okay, we have this file right here, and it's just a general file with some calculations in it. I'm going to close that. I'm just going to call this document type Other. I'll clear this document date out of it, and I'm just going to say miscellaneous. Calculations. Miscellaneous calculations. I'm not going to put any of these other index values in here because none of this applies to this particular document. So I'm just going to press File, and now it shows up in our Files Archived Manually This Session box. Now I'm going to briefly show you where to find these documents, and we're going to go to Document Search, and I'm just going to press Search. And as we can see here, we have the Other. I can double click that in the list, and it should open up my Excel sheet just as I saved it away. And there it is. I'm going to close that. Let's look at some of the other ones we may have added. Here's our invoice that we added for A&F Custom Manufacturing, and there that one is. And what else do we have? And then we have our shop order form that we saved. I can open that one, and here's the shop order that we filed away. So those are the documents that we added. And for more information about searching for documents, see the video Document Searches.